Oh man, this video is probably gonna piss some people off, but guess what?
I don't care.
And welcome to my safe haven, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining me and clicking on another video here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. But hey, if this is your first time clicking on my channel, thank you so much. Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek, and I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has a combination of blood, sex, gore, and magic. So I like to talk superheroes, I like to talk video games, I like to talk action movies, I like to talk animated movies, I like to talk horror movies, sci-fi, fantasy, and of course black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you are interested in, if you think representation matters, if you think representation equals normalization, and you like the fact that there is a black gay YouTuber in this movie review nerd space, do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button. Guys, with that said, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and you got some lovely knickknacks and gifts and TVs for Black Friday. But with that said, guys, I just want to say thank you so much because I have just crossed another milestone on this channel and passed over 7,000 subscribers. Almost close to, now we're closer, even more closer to 10,000 subscribers. So I'm just like, who would have thought? With every milestone that I hit on this channel, I'm just even more and more grateful to all of you, because the fact that 7,000 subscribers are even interested, remotely interested in hearing what I have to say, because I'm just a guy that likes other guys and comics and nerd stuff. So the fact that you guys subscribe to my channel, that you hit me up in the comments, that you show up on any lives that I do, it's just thank you. I appreciate you all. And it's because of you guys that I've been able to have the opportunities that I've been able to get. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So with that, if you could help your boy out, continue to help your boy out, hit that like button on this video, on any video that I watch to the end for the watch time. As I always say, watch, like, share, comment, interact for the all gay rhythm. But yeah, guys, we are here to talk about Disney's latest animated movie to hit theaters called Strange World. I actually saw it maybe like a week or two ago. I got a screener for it, so I thank you for Disney for giving me the screener for Strange World. I actually went and took a friend of mine. You guys may know her because she has like 2 million followers on TikTok, Nikki Marina. And obviously the movie just came out. It's gonna be a non-spoiler review, but this is gonna be less of a review and more of a conversation surrounding this movie because, yeah, there's just some things that we gotta talk about with regards to this movie. And not even so much the movie itself, but the reaction surrounding this movie, but we'll get into that. But with that said, before we get into the video, I wanna thank today's sponsor for this video, Manscaped. And of course, with the holiday season coming around, with Christmas around the corner, if you wanna get a perfect gift for your dad, yourself, your boyfriend, or one of your male friends, Manscaped is the perfect tool, and your balls will definitely thank you, because one of the gifts that you can get is the Lawnmower 4.0, which is a waterproof trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology, which reduces nicks and cuts for most skin-sensitive regions of the body. And as a bald person that constantly shaves my head and other parts of my body, avoiding nicks and scrapes, that's the best thing, especially if you're shaving down there. If you get a nick or a scratch, oh man. And let's be honest, with holidays coming around, if you have a spouse or a boyfriend, that means romance is in the air. And if you're getting a little hanky-panky with your partner, you decide to go down on him, you don't want him to have a whole forest jungle down there. So get him a Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer to change that jungle to a more of a desert. You can also get things like hygiene products, boxer briefs, and many more. So if you're interested, use the code SAFEGAVEN at manscaped.com to save 20% off shipping. Once again, that is SAFEGAVEN to save 20% off of shipping. And I would like to once again thank Manscaped for sponsoring this video. So let's talk about Strange World. The synopsis for Strange World is: the Clades, made up of Jaeger Clade and his son Searcher Clade, are a legendary family of explorers whose differences threaten to topple their latest and most crucial mission into uncharted and treacherous territory. And this movie is directed by Don Hall, who directed one of my favorite recent Disney animated movies in collaboration with Marvel, Big Hero 6. He also did Raya and the Last Dragon, which I thought was okay. And now he's doing Strange World. And this movie stars Dennis Quaid. This movie has Jake Gyllenhaal, Gabrielle Union, Lucy Liu, and most people know him from The Daily Show, but Jabuki Young White. And I'm not gonna be super long with this review because like I said, I wanna have a more important conversation regarding the conversation around this movie. But overall, like, I thought the movie was cute. It's not the best of Disney animation. It's not the worst of Disney animation. The animation for the movie looked gorgeous. The animation looked incredible. And I would say in terms of the animation style, it's up there with some of the greatest Disney animated, I guess, computerized, this style of animated movies. Like, it looked beautiful. So that wasn't an issue with the movie. And having a common theme with Encanto, which was also a Disney animated movie, this movie does delve into family trauma and trying to be better than your previous generation and evolving from the way your parents raised you and trying to raise your kids up to be better than that. And overall, without getting fully into spoilers, I do feel like this movie was trying to give a message regarding climate change and how far as a society are you willing to go to save your planet and what are you willing to sacrifice. And I do think that was a cute message. I do feel like overall, I do kind of feel like they pushed that narrative a little bit harder because it was there, but it was there in like a cutesy way and it's kind of glossed over and it was like, okay, kumbaya, the end. But it was like, no, what are you really willing to sacrifice to save your planet, to save your entire existence? What are you willing to give up to save the world, more or less, or to save your existence within the world? Because one thing in real life that I always say needs to change about the climate change narrative is they always say, oh, we need to save the earth, we need to protect the planet. It's like, no, Earth is going to be fine. It's humans and most life on Earth that's essentially going to be extinct. But the Earth, she's been here for billions of years. She's going to continue to be here for another billions of years. But can we exist on this Earth if we continue to mess it up? So it's not about saving the Earth. It's about saving ourselves. And so yeah, overall I thought it was cute. This world that they explored, the creatures and the environments in this otherworldly environment that they ended up exploring. Like it looked interesting, it looked cool, it looked fun. Like I said, overall, I thought the movie was cute. But in terms of like I said, in terms of like the best of Disney animation, it's a movie that you probably wouldn't really think about in like a week or not even a week. Like 3 days later, you're like, oh yeah, I did watch that. But while you're watching it, you will have a good time watching it. And I do enjoy the characters played by, again, Jake Gyllenhaal, Dennis Quaid, Jabuki Young White, and Gabrielle Union and Lucy Liu. And there were definitely moments that I laughed. And like I said, I enjoy the characters. I enjoy the interaction with them. And I especially love the chemistry between Jake Gyllenhaal and Jabuki Young White. They're two characters. So I would say overall, is it something worth watching? I mean, if you have money to spare, I would say it's definitely worth watching. However, if you're one of the type of people, if you have to, because movie theater prices are expensive. I'm going to get into this later on in this discussion, but movie ticket prices are expensive. And if you had to choose between like Wakanda Forever or Strange World, of course I'm going to say choose Wakanda Forever and wait till Strange World hits Disney Plus. But whether you see it in the theater or see it on Disney Plus, I still think it's worth checking out. So overall, I will still give it a low hit, even if it's somewhat forgettable. Now, with that said, and this is going to continue kind of into more of a review, but this is going to be the more important conversation I wanted to have with regards to this movie and why I said in my intro that I feel like I'm going to piss some people off. Hopefully, because more than likely the people that I'm going to piss off, I don't want them to subscribe to my channel anyway. But the thing about this movie is right now, because of the opening box office weekend, this movie is not making that much money. And there are articles coming out saying it's one of Disney animated movies' weakest box office performance in recent history. And I believe it only opened at $19 million. And this movie is projected to lose $100 million. And the reason I bring this up, and I made a video like this on my other social medias talking about this, but I'm gonna go more in depth here. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because prior to the movie coming out, just like Lightyear, there were articles coming out saying Strange World is gonna feature Disney's first openly gay teen. And that character was played by Jabuki Young White. You have Gabrielle Union's character and Jake Gyllenhaal's character, they are a couple. They are an interracial couple. So you have Jabuki Young White's character, who is a biracial kid, and he's a gay kid on top of that. So it's representation on top of representation. Oh, pushing an agenda. That's what people are saying. So regarding this movie, especially it failing at the box office, you have that narrative going on the internet. See, this is another example. Go woke, go broke. Disney's pushing an agenda, and look what's happening. I shouldn't have to take my kids to see them pushing this gay character in a kids movie. Why does that have to be in a kids movie? That's why this movie's not doing well at the box office. And that is the conversation that I want to have. Oh, and this is something I forgot to mention with regards to how the character was portrayed in the movie, because Disney loves to have articles come out like with Beauty and the Beast. Oh, we're going to have an important queer moment in the movie, and then it's like a 2-second dance scene between LeFou and some guy. Or how J.J. Abrams comes out and talks about how LGBTQ representation is very important to him. How it was so important for him to have that in the movie. And again, it's a 2-second in the background kiss, inconsequential kiss at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, or even in Wakanda Forever. It's another blink and you'll miss it 2-second moment. However, with Strange World, I was actually surprised at the queer representation from the character played by Jabuki Young White. I can't remember the character. Ethan. There we go. Ethan. And I was like, and it was very obvious that he was gay. There was no subtlety. There were no hints. It was there was no subtext. He was gay. There was a boy that he liked. He talked about the boy that he liked. Like, they had conversations about him. Like, it was fully. Now, obviously, of course, with it being me, of course, I wish there were more. And of course, like, it's a kids movie. I'm not saying they should have been like blowing each other. That's something I wished for Eternals. But like, I do wish, considering there were a lot of heterosexual kids, I do wish that the boy that he ended up liking, and they ended up. I wish there was some, like, a moment of, like, they go on a date, or there was an actual kiss scene between the two of them. But, like, in terms of what they gave, I thought it was pretty decent. And again, going to my motto of representation equals normalization, seeing that type of representation is important. Think about how many movies, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Avatar: The Last Airbender, etc., where you see these characters, these heterosexual characters, these children characters, that all they want is to get married. Ariel getting married at like 16, Aang having a crush on Katara. All of that is fine, and that's not sexual, but people see that as being fine, and they don't have a problem with that when it comes to kids media. But the moment it comes to queer representation, they say, oh, why do you have to introduce sex in a kid's media? And it's like, but it's not sex. It's literally just the boy having a crush or liking another guy or wanting to go out on a date, or even just kissing like they did in Avatar: The Last Airbender at the end with Katara or Suki and Sokka, or Mai and Zuko. So breaking this down as much as I can, multiple things can be true at once, right? So even before COVID, right, movie theater attendance has been down overall compared to other years and other decades. And the reason that certain movies will continue to break box office records, and like Avengers Endgame, one of the highest grossing movies of all time, especially domestically, is because movie theater ticket prices have gotten more expensive. So even though attendance is down, prices are up. So because of that, you're still able to break box office records, because more tickets are way more expensive. Not even just tickets, but concessions, all of it is way more expensive today than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. And hell, even going to the concession to get an extra cheese, you got to pay damn near $2 just for some extra cheese on nachos. Well, I remember when I was working in the movie theater, it was like, what, 75 cents back in like 2003? So less and less people are going to the movies nowadays. And now, post-COVID, especially with streaming services, and for the past year and a half or whatever, we've been trained to watch movies, especially animated movies, Pixar movies, because Turning Red, Raya and the Last Dragon, Soul, Luca, all of these Pixar movies were released on Disney Plus. Even Encanto was released. They released it in theaters for like a little bit, but then it instantly went to Disney Plus. And then even when you think about Encanto, people didn't start talking about Encanto, and it didn't become the phenomenon that it became until it hit Disney Plus. Nobody saw it in theaters because, again, movie theater attendance is down. And on top of that, they chose a terrible time to release this movie because, just like I mentioned before, I was like, if you don't have that much money and you had to choose between Wakanda Forever and Strange World, choose Wakanda Forever. And because of that, Strange World and Wakanda Forever literally basically have the same audience. So if you were to ask your kid, which would you rather see, Wakanda Forever or Strange World? Of course, they're going to choose Wakanda Forever. So that also hurts the box office. And unlike me, where I have like AMC A-List, and even then with AMC A-List, I don't even go to the movies as much as I used to prior to the pandemic. I used to go to the movies at minimum once a week. And especially now that I'm getting screeners, I barely go to like the movie theater on my own. Now it's gotten to the point where I'm like, if I don't get a screener for it, I'll see it when it goes to streaming. But I have friends, family members that since COVID, they still will not go to the movie theater. Something like Wakanda Forever or even like A Strange World, they're like, it'll come to Disney Plus eventually. I'll watch it when it comes to Disney Plus. Or even my brother, something like a Wakanda Forever. That's the only time he's like, I will go to the movies to go see it because I want to see that movie and I want to see it on the big screen. But other than that, he'll wait for it to hit streaming. Partially because going to the movies is expensive, especially if you have like a family of 4, just on movie tickets alone, because movie ticket prices are like 17, 18, 19. In New York, maybe $20 per person plus tax. So if you're going with a family of 4, you're paying almost $100 just for the tickets, let alone if you want to get concessions on top of that. And then also for this particular movie, this movie was not marketed or advertised at all, at least as far as I know, because had I not gone to D23 and saw them talk about this movie, release a trailer, they had the cast come on stage to talk about their experiences and things like that, I would know absolutely nothing about this movie. I wouldn't even know this movie is coming out. I haven't seen any advertisement for this movie. And when I talked about this on Instagram, I had multiple comments saying, yeah, I didn't even know this movie was coming out. Or other people saying, oh, I thought this movie was going straight to Disney Plus. I didn't even know it was coming to theaters. So this movie was barely marketed. So that's another reason that it failed at the box office. And also, of course, I'm not naive. I'm pretty sure a part of the reason, it might even be a large part of the reason why people didn't go see this movie is because of the whole go woke, go broke agenda. They're like, oh, it's a gay character in this movie. I'm not taking my kids to see that, because there are bigots and homophobes in the world. And instead of advertising, oh, it's the first gay teen movie with Disney, animated movie, they should have just let the movie come out and then afterwards release those type of articles instead of releasing it way before the movie even comes out. Because then you have bigots and homophobes, they already got their mind made up and they're like, I'm not taking my kid to see that. As opposed to if they knew nothing about it, now you're forced, ha ha ha. So I think that's multiple reasons why it didn't do as well at the box office, because movie theater ticket prices are expensive and audiences are more discerning about what they're going to spend their dollar on to see in the theaters. And especially since COVID, nowadays, more people are willing to go to the theaters to see the big spectacle, because again, there are people, the average movie-going audience will only see like maybe 3 or 4 movies a year because of how expensive it is. And so even the article that talked about how this movie bombed, they talked about how this year's Thanksgiving box office weekend is weak overall compared to other years. The only movie that's really doing well and really keeping the box office afloat is Wakanda Forever. But also, more importantly, and this is the part that I said is gonna piss people off, I wanna talk about this whole mentality of go woke and go broke and what that really means. And even if, for whatever reason, it turns out to be true, Hollywood shouldn't listen to these people, because really what people mean by that whole mentality of go woke and go broke, that's their way of admitting without admitting that they're racist, sexist, and homophobic. And what do I mean by that? Just look at the discourse regarding something like a She-Hulk. Because she's talking about women empowerment and issues that women deal with, people are saying, oh, She-Hulk is woke, it's a woke agenda. Or take another more concrete example. This tweet was released earlier this year regarding Jurassic World Fallen King, or whatever the recent Jurassic World movie was. They just tweeted a picture of DeWanda Wise standing next to Chris Pratt, and this guy put trash emoji, another great franchise ruined by woke bullshit. There's no trailer associated with this. There's no synopsis. It is just a photo of DeWanda Wise, a black woman, standing next to Chris Pratt, a white man. what is woke about this still? It is just a still from the movie. It's woke because it's a black woman in a franchise, and that's the problem with these things. Like, anything that has representation in it, anything that has women as the lead, and then they talk about how hard it is to be like a woman super, anything that deals with that, they say is woke. Or anytime you see a queer character, a black character as the lead, especially when it comes to sci-fi fantasy, they instantly call it woke. And then they try to put it in a negative context. If you want to teach LGBTQ history, it's woke. If you want to have critical race theory in school, it's woke, because they're threatened. Because for the most part, throughout most of entertainment history, especially in America, straightness, whiteness, and maleness has been the default in media, and anything outside of that, especially because nowadays we're really pushing for more representative media and calling for more diverse voices both in front of and behind the camera, because more people are rising up saying they want different types of stories, different types of books to read, and et cetera, that straightness, maleness, and whiteness power structure feels like it's being threatened. So they have to, oh, it's woke, it's woke, it's woke. Don't see that trash. It's pushing an agenda. But those same types of people haven't been saying, because damn near when a movie is mostly straight, mostly white, mostly male, they're not saying they're pushing an agenda of straight white maleness. No, why? Because that's been considered the default throughout most of media. Even when you think about how interracial relationships are portrayed in movies like A Strange World, there always has to be whiteness involved in the interracial relationship. You don't really see a lot of interracial relationships between like a black person and an Indian person, a black person and a native person, an Asian person and a native person. It's always white and somebody else. Because at the end of the day, whiteness is considered the default in entertainment media, or it has been, and now more voices are coming out and saying, no, enough is enough. It's not the default. Sure, y'all are the majority in America, but you're not the default. And the crazy and sad thing about it is, it's not just white people that say, oh, this is gone woke. Black people, especially, there's a lot of black men too, that will use that term, especially with regard to Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Oh, it's pushing a woke agenda. What does that even mean? Because Shuri's the Black Panther, spoilers for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but it's been out long enough. And Marvel already released a photo of Shuri in the Black Panther suit on their social media, so it's fair game at this point. And it's sad how other marginalized and oppressed people will parrot the same talking points of white supremacy. Like, oh, Wakanda Forever is woke, or this character is a gay lead, or whatever, it's woke. Like, what does that mean? So you want everything to just be straight and heterosexual, or straight and white, or if it's mostly black, you just want black characters, but you don't want queer characters to exist in your narrative, because there are people talking, the blink and you'll miss a kiss in Wakanda Forever between Ayo and Anika. They're calling that woke. And I'm gonna try to see if I can find the tweet and put it up here. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to watch it, despite being interested in it, because of the narrative surrounding this movie. But the movie, the Netflix animated movie, Energetic, how somebody, and there are a lot of people agreeing with this person, how they were like, oh, thank you for finally releasing a movie about heterosexual black love without pushing an agenda. There was no gay character in the movie. There was no homosexual gay agenda in the movie. It was just a heterosexual black love. And it's just like, there are a lot of movies like that exist. Like, and so because of that and the narrative around it, it made me not want to watch the movie. Even though it's not the fault of the movie, especially the person that created Kid Cudi, who is a strong supporter of LGBTQ rights. And it's the reason I say, even if it is true in the short term, Hollywood shouldn't listen to these people, the whole go woke, go broke. Because truth of the matter is, talking about black people talking about going woke and things like that, once upon a time, when they started to inject more black faces in media, there was backlash. There were boycotts. There were people that weren't interested. Public parks and things like that closed because black people wanted to go to pools. There were protests and schools shut down and things like that when integration happened. There was a backlash when we had the first interracial kiss on Star Trek between Lieutenant Uhura and Captain Kirk. But because of that backlash, does that mean that Hollywood should have never introduced black characters in sci-fi or television, period, because there was backlash? Betty White had her show canceled in the 50s when she had a black tap dancer on her show. Does that mean she should have never done it because there was backlash and her show got canceled? No, in the short term, she suffered, but in the long term, she has a great long-lasting legacy because of it. And on top of that, representation equals normalization. And so because a lot of these stories people aren't used to seeing them and they're not used to being told. It's not quote unquote normalized, so people are lashing out against it. But me, as a black gay kid, how many times have I been forced to watch a bunch of heterosexual narratives or straight white narrative? Like I said, I always talk about this all the time. One of my favorite shows is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but one of my biggest criticisms, Buffy ain't really had no black friends. Like, there were barely any black main characters in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Same with another show of mine that I really enjoyed, Charmed. Yeah, you had the character Daryl, but he wasn't magical. And then Daryl would pop up every so often to fulfill a certain role, but he wasn't magical. And he wasn't even though he was a series regular, he wasn't really in the show like that. It was very white. True Blood, even though they had Tara and Lafayette and they were the more interesting characters, look at what they ended up doing with Tara's character. And despite Lafayette ending up becoming the most powerful character on the show, as a brujo, his character basically kind of got sidelined after like season 4. And then even when you do get queer representation, like a Queer as Folk, very white. And I could go on and on and on. But Martin Scorsese movies, and I love Martin Scorsese movies, The Departed, Shutter Island, Wolf of Wall Street, etc. But his movies are very white. Am I saying that they're forcing and pushing a straight white male agenda? You don't hear people saying that about Martin Scorsese. But yeah, that's ultimately what I wanted to talk about regarding the narrative surrounding this movie. The people that are saying, oh, it's another example of Disney pushing an agenda, go woke, go broke. Those people are trash. Those people are racist, sexist, and homophobic. And if you got a problem with me saying that and pointing that out, who cares? Don't come back to my channel. And if you try to say something ridiculous in the comments, the block button will be used. But if you want to have a nuanced and respectful conversation, we can have that. So with that said, like I said, overall, I thought Strange World was cute. It's worth checking out on like Disney Plus, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. So with that said, guys, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. If you can, once again, hit that like button. It'll help with the YouTube algorithm getting this video and my channel out there. If this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.